This is my son, who, when he first became famous, said that I was dead.
I can relate. I used to say my dad was dead. I can
Right?
relate.
And then it went from I'm dead to us back.
Mad. Did you crack though?
What the am I gonna smoke crack for?
You ever talked to him since?
Nah, I ain't talked to him since I was probably like heard his voice, like talked to him on the phone. I probably ain't talked to him since I was like 12.
You interested?
Not really, cause it's like I'm a man now.
He's going into another country. Yeah, he's going to a totally different country. Not by my choice, right? That's not my choice. First of all, that's not my choice. Why is he going to America? Why is he going to America? He's going to America, yeah? His mum is now married to his now stepdad, yeah? So they're going for a fresh start. Who says he needs a fresh start? She needs the fresh start. He don't need no fresh start. What he needs is what he's had already. I love my son, yeah? I love my son.
What do you want? Do you want a relationship with him? Do you want to see him? Do you want him? Do you get what do you want?
I want him to pick up the phone and talk to me. That's all I
like,
want.
what do you like? Don't.
That's it.
What if everything you thought you knew about 21 Savage's past was a total setup? Imagine this. A father in London watching his son rise to global fame while the world believes he's dead, broke, and strung out. The twist? That same father is now stepping into the spotlight, ready to drop receipts that could flip the whole hip-hop scene upside down. Kevin Emmons, 21 Savage's real biological father, has come forward swinging. And he's not empty-handed. He's claiming he's got phone logs, money transfers, and personal messages that completely destroy the story 21's been selling since his first mixtape dropped. He says he was in his son's life for 7 years straight, handled all the bills, supported every dream, and then got wiped clean out of the picture like he never existed. That's wild. Now the streets are lit with gossip, and the internet can't stop talking. People are split. Some think the dad's clout chasing, others say this could expose one of the biggest image flips in rap history. The evidence looks real, and what Kevin's revealing is no small thing. It's got the potential to change how fans see 21 forever. So if you're ready to uncover the raw truth behind one of hip-hop's messiest family dramas, you better stay tuned, because what's coming next might just rewrite everything you thought you knew about 21 Savage's come up. Before the chaos unfolded, let's rewind the tape. 21 Savage, real name Shaya bin Abraham Joseph, was actually born in London, England back in 1992. His dad, Kevin Emmons, comes straight out of Brixton, South London, raised in the heart of the culture. Kevin says he's been deep in the music scene since day one, from breakdancing and graffiti to DJing and rapping. He lived and breathed the grind. Music ran through Kevin's veins. It wasn't just a passion, it was in his DNA. He wasn't some random dude claiming it either. He was actually on BBC shows back in the day, dancing and performing in hip-hop videos that promoted a clean lifestyle. He paints a picture of growing up surrounded by discipline and respect, the kind of upbringing that kept him grounded.
I got in a fight on the first day of school. Oh God. Yeah, they was used to tease me. Like, I went to Dunner Elementary. That was the first elementary school I went to. Okay. So I get on the bus, they're making fun of me on the way to school. Okay. So we get on the bus to go home. They making fun of me on the way home. Like one of the dudes, like her brother was, so the older brother was says like shit, fighting. So we get out the bus, I beat him up. So the good because they running and tell my mama. Okay. No, so no. Okay. So they run, they tell my mama, they start really was picking up, they started telling me taekwondo kid. It's a true story.
Being the youngest of 6, Kevin says he could never step out of line. Every move he made was watched by his parents, his brothers, and his sisters. He calls his father the baddest man on the planet and says the last thing he ever wanted to do was cross him. That family structure was his backbone. No nonsense, no street trouble, and definitely no police drama. Bringing any kind of mess home would have been social suicide for him, so he made sure to stay in line. That kind of upbringing shaped everything about who he became. Then comes the part that flips the script. Kevin says he met 21 Savage's mother at a party out in East London. He was chilling with his brothers, because that's how his crew always rolled, deep and tight. According to him, she was the one who made the first move, not the other way around. They started hanging out, one thing led to another, and next thing you know, boom, she's pregnant with the baby who'd one day become 21 Savage. But here's where it really gets messy. Kevin claims that the pregnancy wasn't planned at all, and when she found out she was expecting, everything changed overnight. He says she told him flat out to cut ties with his entire family and move with her to America. No discussion, no warning. But it didn't stop there. Kevin says she was mixed up in something called the Nuwaubian movement, a group he describes as a renegade offshoot of Islam with beliefs and rules that completely clashed with his family's traditions.
Mike, I got you this phone. It's so that you could phone me and I can phone you. 5th month, $100. 6th month, $100. 7th month, $100. But you're not even phoning me. Why am I spending all this money on this phone and you can't even punch in my numbers, one, call me, and hang up the phone so that I know I can call you back?
You know what it is?
Did you have this conversation with him?
I had this conversation with him plenty of times.
Things were already complicated, and this took it to a whole new level. Kevin says the movement was mainly focused on black identity, but it had a dark side. According to him, she started giving him booklets and pamphlets that straight up claimed anyone who wasn't black was evil. He couldn't vibe with that mindset at all. He believed that good and bad come in every color, and that judging people like that was wrong. Imagine being just 21 years old, and your girl suddenly tells you to ditch your whole family, cut all ties, and join what sounds like a cult in another country. Wild, right? Kevin wasn't having it. He said no way to leaving his family behind, and that decision ended their relationship for good. But even after things fell apart between them, Kevin made one thing clear. He was still going to be in his son's life no matter what. He wasn't the type to walk away. And that's where his version of the story completely clashes with what 21's been saying in interviews. According to Kevin, for the first 7 years of 21 Savage's life, he was all in. Every single weekend, he'd clock out of work Friday night, hop in his car, and drive to pick up his little boy. He'd bring him back to his mother's house, where the whole family, cousins, aunts, uncles, would hang out and spend time together. During school breaks, Easter holidays, summer vacations, and Christmas, 21 was always with his dad's side of the family. Kevin swears he never missed a beat.
I just want a phone. Like, just send me $100 a month, bro, so I can have me a little metro. You know what I'm saying? I'm in middle school now. Everybody got phones and shit. He ain't want, like, he sent $100 and then he just stopped sending the shit type shit. So I started selling weed to get me a phone, shit like that. But I ain't gonna lie, I used to be hurt by that shit. Like, damn, why my daddy won't fuck with me? You know what I'm saying? But then as I got older, it was just like, really, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? I get out here on my own. I'm a grown man now.
He also talks about how smart 21 was as a kid, like shockingly sharp for his age. Kevin recalls walking down the street one day when young 21 looked up and said, "Dad, I don't want you to smoke because you might die early and I don't want you to die." Hearing that from a little kid hit him hard. He says that moment showed just how emotionally deep his son really was, even back then. Kevin says 21 was always over the moon whenever he was around his dad's side of the family. Every visit was pure joy, laughing, running around, soaking up the love. He describes him as crazy smart too, sometimes too smart for his own good, always asking deep questions that even got on his nerves sometimes. But that intelligence made him proud. He could already tell his son was special. Then things started getting weird. Kevin claims that during those 7 years, every single time he went to pick up his boy, 21's mom would hit him with the same question. "You know we're going to America. You can always come with me."
Me losing my son is bad enough, but to lose my brethren along the way, and then I've made it and I can't bring them with me, and everything I used to dream about that we was gonna do, I can't do it with them.
I really hope everything works out for the best. Honestly, do you know what I mean? I can see that it hurts you a lot. I really do hope that.
It hurts me for the fact that it's all the interviews he done after when I was in my worst state. That's what hurts me. It's after the loss, then came all the my dad this, my dad that, my dad this, my dad that. Man, have some empathy. I just lost your brother. There's no reason to put me down even more.
Even after their relationship had ended, she never stopped pushing it. She wanted him to drop everything in London, his family, his job, his whole life, and move across the ocean with her. Kevin couldn't understand it. That same argument was what ended their relationship in the first place. So why was she still trying to make it happen? And then came the day that changed everything. Kevin remembers it crystal clear. A Sunday he says he'll never forget. He dropped 21 off at his mom's house like usual, and that's when she hit him with an ultimatum.
Tell me how you got shot.
I'm with my best friend. We in the car. It's my birthday. Somebody open the back door like, draw down. He didn't say nothing. He just brought a whole bunch of shots go off. I end up shot. He end up dead. Another one of them end up being shot. I get out the car, run, knock on somebody's door, but I can't move this arm. Like, this arm over with. Motherfucker ain't coming to the door. I run back to the car, grab my phone. Police pull up. I get out the car, and I start walking towards police. Police draw down. I'm like, look, bro, I just got shot in this arm. I can't put this arm in the air. I can only put this arm in the air. Ambulance pull up. They put me on the stretcher, cut my clothes off. After that, that's just changed, and that's when I really started rapping.
We're leaving Monday. You can either keep him here, come with us, or I'll send him back every 6 months. Kevin says he knew deep down she'd never actually leave 21 behind. The bond between mother and son was too strong. And as much as it hurt him, he realized 21 couldn't handle being separated from his mom. So Kevin made what he thought was the best choice. He let his son go with her, believing it was the logical thing to do for his stability. But there was still hope. She promised to send 21 back every 6 months, keeping the same rhythm they'd had for years. Kevin agreed, thinking it was a fair deal that would give his son consistency and love from both sides of the family. He had no idea that decision would mark the start of a story that would twist completely out of his control. Kevin had no clue that letting his son move to America would completely flip his life upside down. What seemed like a simple move for a better future turned into a journey filled with pressure, pain, and survival. When 21 landed in Atlanta at just 7 years old, he was thrown into a totally different world. New people, new culture, and a whole new way of life. School was rough from the start. The moment he opened his mouth, kids started mocking his British accent, calling him names, laughing at him, making him feel like an outsider. So one day he snapped. Kevin says young 21 stood up for himself, fought back, and ended up earning the nickname Taekwondo Kid. That was the start of a tougher, more guarded version of the boy who once loved his weekends in London. At first, though, 21 was killing it in school. He was sharp, winning spelling bees and math contests in the same year. Teachers saw potential, and it looked like he was headed for greatness. But as he got older, reality hit him hard. No matter how smart he was, his immigration status meant doors stayed closed. He couldn't apply for university or land a proper job. That kind of rejection eats at you, and it did for him too. Soon, he started losing focus, sleeping in class, skipping work, and eventually falling into the streets at just 13.
People say you should have just went out there.
Just go.
What hospital was he in?
Find out when you get there.
From who?
From the papers, probably. He's famous, isn't it?
No, this is before he's
it was
famous.
before. Yeah, but you find out, man. Come on, man.
From
You'll
who?
find out.
This is Atlanta. Who?
The same way you phoned him, if you text him, say, I'm in the airport, blood. Or do you get what I'm trying to say? It's a bit different, innit? I'm in America. Come on, man.
That's when things took a darker turn. With no clear path ahead and the pressure of survival growing, he started dealing just to get by. Then it escalated. One day he brought a gun to school for protection after hearing that kids from another neighborhood were out to get him. He tried to hide it during in-school suspension, but the cameras caught everything. To make it worse, another student testified against him, and by 8th grade, 21 Savage was already on probation, they say, even though Kevin says he was trying his best to stay out of trouble. That was the moment his innocence started to fade and life on the edge began. Things started spiraling fast for young 21. He ended up getting kicked out of school over a bus incident. And here's the crazy part. He didn't even throw anything. Other students were wilding out, tossing stuff at the driver, but somehow a few girls pointed fingers at him, saying he was part of it. Just like that, he got expelled over something he didn't even do. When his mom found out, she lost it. Kevin says that was the first time she ever grounded him, locked him inside the house and made him babysit his younger siblings as punishment. But 21 wasn't the type to sit still. He kept sneaking out whenever he could. Eventually, his cousin snitched, telling his mom that he'd been taking stolen cars and joyriding around the city. That led to even more strict punishment. But by then, the streets had already pulled him in. That rebellious streak didn't stop. It just got louder. Kevin says it went on for years, and then came the moment that shattered him. 21's 21st birthday, the day everything changed forever. That's where Kevin's story turns from frustration to heartbreak, exposing what he calls a pattern of lies. Remember that promise 21's mom made? The one about sending him back to London every 6 months? According to Kevin, that never happened. In 23 years, 21 came back exactly once, in 2005. One visit in over 2 decades. And even then, Kevin says he paid for everything. Flights for 21, his sister, and their mom, because he missed his son so bad he couldn't take it anymore. But Kevin wasn't just sitting around waiting. He says he tried hard, calling every few days, making sure to keep that connection alive. He'd call when 21 was at his grandmother's house so the boy could talk to the whole family, grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, everybody. Kevin believed it wasn't just about being a dad, it was about keeping his son tied to his roots, his culture, and the people who loved him. He says he did everything he could to keep that bond strong, but over time, the distance and the silence started to feel permanent. Now, this is where things really start to get messy, the phone situation. Kevin says that back when 21 needed a phone, he didn't hesitate to help out. He agreed to pay for it because, to him, that meant they could finally talk directly. No middleman, no interference from the mom.
It hurts me for the fact that it's all the interviews he done after when I was in my worst state. That's what hurts me. It's after the loss, then came all the my dad this, my dad that, my dad this, my dad that. Man, have some empathy. I just lost your brother. There's no reason to put me down even more.
He started covering the bills every month, paying for international calling plans that ran him anywhere from $20 to $100, just so his son could reach out whenever he wanted. But here's the wild part. 21 never called him, not even once. Kevin says he kept paying for a phone that stayed silent month after month, hoping maybe one day he'd get that call. It never came. He tried talking to 21 about it, reminding him, "The reason I got you this phone is so you can call me and I can call you back. Just ring me once and hang up. I'll handle the rest." But even then, there was nothing. Eventually, Kevin got tired of paying for a line that was only breaking his heart, so he stopped footing the bill. And that's when things took another strange turn. Because later, Kevin claims, 21 used that same situation against him, accusing him of not helping or staying in touch. That hit hard, especially since Kevin says he was the one spending money to keep their bond alive. He even reveals that in 2004, he flew all the way to America just to see his son, proof that he was still trying to hold on to that relationship. He didn't just show up empty-handed either. When 21 ran into trouble with the law, Kevin says he paid for his first court case. On top of that, he was sending money on the regular, making sure every transfer had his name in the reference line so there would be bank records to back it all up. But the part that really breaks him, the lies that came later. When 21 Savage blew up and the fame hit, he started telling the world his father was dead. Meanwhile, Kevin was very much alive, living in London, watching his son's interviews and seeing his own death being used as part of a made-up backstory. Imagine that. Sitting in your neighborhood, walking past the same corner shops you've known all your life, and seeing your face on the front page of the paper because your son's been arrested by ICE, while the world thinks you don't even exist. Kevin says that moment was surreal. Standing in a chip shop, staring at the headlines, realizing his own son had erased him from his life story. That's not just painful, it's devastating. Kevin says that when he tried to share his side of the story, no one wanted to listen. Not a single outlet cared to hear what he had to say. The media was quick to print headlines about 21, but when Kevin reached out to tell the truth, it was silence. That's when things got even darker, because suddenly, the story about him changed again. It went from "my dad is dead" to "my dad smokes that stuff." Hearing that broke him. In the interview, Kevin addresses the accusation head on, and you can see the pain in his eyes. When asked if he ever used any kind of substance, he responds with total honesty, saying he never went down that road. Sure, he admits that. Back in the day, there was peer pressure, people around him experimenting, trying things, but he says he never joined in because he had a strong foundation, a family that kept him focused. He reminds everyone that he was the youngest of 6 kids, raised under strict discipline. He says straight up that the last person he ever wanted to disappoint was his father, a man he deeply respected and feared in equal measure. Bringing trouble into that house wasn't just risky, it was unthinkable.
At that point,
And we got on the phone. He started doing some things. Like just asking me for shit like too early, and like I kind of like fell back, and then like, you know, like when I do interviews, these questions come up, and I'm truthful, so I think that might have rubbed him the wrong.
Kevin laughs bitterly, saying that if he'd ever brought drugs or trouble home, that would have been suicide for me. That's why this accusation cuts so deep. To him, hearing his own son, the boy he worked hard to support, go public and call him an addict felt like being stabbed in the back. He says it's not just a lie, it's character assassination. Kevin explains he was a working man, grinding through everyday jobs, from the post office to helping his father with business, all while sending money overseas to make sure his son had what he needed. And after all that effort, after years of trying to stay in touch and do the right thing, his reward was being painted as something he's not, by the very person he raised. That's what hurts him most. Kevin also clears up another major mix-up, the whole stepfather confusion. When old photos resurfaced online, fans started thinking that another man was 21's real dad, but Kevin shuts that down completely, saying he's the biological father, and he's been there since day one. No stepfather, no substitute, just a dad who's been fighting for his truth in a story that keeps getting twisted. One of the most explosive moments in this entire saga is the night 21 Savage got shot 6 times on his 21st birthday in 2013. This is where Kevin's version of the story completely clashes with what 21 has said publicly. The whole thing was supposed to be a celebration, a chill night for 21, his close friend Johnny, and one of Johnny's relatives who all shared the same birthday. It was meant to be a good time, not a tragedy. According to Kevin, 21 and Johnny had planned to book a hotel room for the weekend to celebrate big, but before they could even get started, things went left. Johnny called 21 because one of the speakers in his car stopped working. And since 21 had a ride with big speakers in the trunk, Johnny asked to meet up and use his car instead. When they linked, Johnny suggested they run a few errands first, and that simple decision changed everything. Out of nowhere, 2 gunmen rolled up. One jumped in the backseat yelling, "Get up!" while the other stood outside pointing his weapon. It turned into chaos in seconds. Shots started flying, and before anyone could react, 21 had been hit 6 times. Once in his arm, twice in the collarbone, his neck, his hand, and even his finger. Johnny didn't make it. He was gone after the very first bullet. 21 later said he heard that one of the shooters ended up paralyzed, but he never found out what happened to the other one. For him, it was another painful chapter in a long list of losses. He'd already lost his close friend Larry 2 years before, and now this. The streets had taken another piece of him. Kevin says when he got the news, he was at work, and the moment he heard, he broke down crying right there. His wife asked what he was going to do, and Kevin says the first thing he wanted was to talk to his son directly. He managed to reach 21 on the phone, and at that time, his son was recovering and on methadone, something Kevin describes as a truth serum, meaning whatever came out in that conversation, he believed was raw and real. Kevin says that call was one of the hardest moments of his life. Hearing his son's weak voice after being shot 6 times, knowing he couldn't be there in person, and realizing just how far apart they had grown, both in miles and in truth. When Kevin finally got his son on the phone after the shooting, he asked the only question a father could. "What do you want me to do? Should I come out there? What do you need from me?"
Me and my daddy in like a weird place, cause he got his side of how he look at it. I got my side of how I look at it. Like I kind of understand, like, okay, if your child moved to another country, it's kind of hard type shit. But from a child point of view, all I can do is go off the emotion that I felt as a child. Like I can't tell you how I would feel about it as an adult.
Right.
Because the hurt come from when I was a child. You feel what I'm saying?
But this is where things take a complicated turn. According to Kevin, 21 told him not to come, said he didn't want him there. But in interviews, 21's story sounds completely different. He's claimed that his father never even tried, that he didn't show up at the hospital, didn't reach out, and that if the roles were reversed, he'd have been on the first flight no matter where he was in the world. Kevin's response is calm but cold. He says he wanted to go, but he didn't even know where to go. He didn't know what hospital his son was in, didn't have an address, and couldn't just fly to Atlanta and start searching randomly. It wasn't about not caring. It was about having no access, no information, and no way to actually find him. He also reminds people that his life didn't stop in London. At that time, he had 4 other children depending on him, including a 6-year-old who had just been diagnosed with autism. Kevin says he couldn't just abandon them to fly to America indefinitely, especially when he wasn't even sure if his son wanted him there. It was an impossible situation, a choice between family responsibilities on one side and emotional guilt on the other. Then came 2020, the year that broke him completely. Kevin's other son, Terrell, who was 21's younger brother, was stabbed to death in London at just 27 years old. That tragedy hit like a tidal wave. Kevin says he was standing over his own child's body, covered by a white sheet at 7 o'clock in the morning, numb, heartbroken, and barely able to process what had just happened. But in that same heartbreak, something unexpected happened. For the first time in years, 21 and Kevin actually spoke again. Kevin describes it as bittersweet. He loved hearing his son's voice, reconnecting after so long, but it tore him apart that it took another son's death to make that call happen. He says that moment reminded him how fragile everything really was. Fame, distance, pride, none of it mattered anymore when faced with loss that deep. When Kevin finally got that long-awaited call from 21, his heart was torn in two. He told his son straight up, "I love hearing your voice, but I hate the reason why it's happening. You're only talking to me because your brother's gone." Those words hit heavy, but they were the truth. Despite the pain behind the reunion, the two talked for about 2 weeks, a rare moment of peace after years of silence. During that time, Kevin got to connect with his grandkids for the first time, face to face through a screen. He saw his 2 grandsons on FaceTime, smiling and laughing, and for a brief moment, it felt like the family bond was healing. But the happiness wasn't complete. Kevin says he wasn't allowed to meet his granddaughter because her mother refused to let it happen. That part stung deeply, but he still cherished the moments he got. Then something beautiful happened. 21 invited his dad to come visit him in America. For Kevin, that invite meant everything. It wasn't someone passing along a message, it was directly from his son. Real, personal, and full of hope. Kevin says he started preparing himself emotionally to make that trip, ready to finally reconnect in person after all those lost years. But just when things seemed to be looking up, it all fell apart, and fast. Kevin says something went down that he doesn't even want to fully explain. What he does reveal is that 21 suddenly sent him a text about $10. In that message, 21 accused him of never sending the money when he needed it. Kevin was stunned. $10? He said if his son ever needed that or anything else, he would have sent it without question. He even told 21 to check his mother's bank account, reminding him that every transfer he'd ever sent had his name clearly listed as a reference. But after that message, things went cold again. Communication stopped completely. Days turned into weeks, and then Kevin saw online that 21 was living it up in the Dominican Republic with a girl. He decided not to chase it. He figured he'd wait for his son to come back from vacation to pick up where they left off. But that call never came. 21 never reached out again, leaving Kevin staring at his phone, wondering how something so fragile could fall apart so easily again. Kevin brings up a detail that most people never caught. He says 21 wasn't supposed to be able to leave America because of his immigration case, yet somehow he made it to the Dominican Republic. Kevin explains that technically, the Dominican Republic is part of the U.S. travel zone for certain visa situations, so it didn't break any rules, but to him, it symbolized something deeper. His son could cross borders for a vacation, but couldn't bridge the emotional border between them. Then Kevin drops some serious accusations. He calls it parental alienation. According to him, this started way back when 21 was just 4 years old. Kevin claims that 21's mother tried to make him call his stepfather Abu, which means dad in Hebrew. He says 21 didn't like it. He resisted it, but his mother kept pushing that image, trying to convince him that his stepfather was more of a real dad than Kevin ever was. Hearing that as a father broke him completely. From there, Kevin digs deeper into the family dynamics, breaking it down like a man who's been carrying the weight for decades. He says when relationships end, society always expects the father to do more to keep the bond alive, while the mother naturally stays close to the child. She's in the same home, same routine, while the dad's left trying to chase time, money, and opportunities just to stay connected. Kevin says it's a setup that keeps fathers in a never-ending race they can't win. No matter how much effort they put in, it's never enough. And what hurts him most? 21 doesn't talk to anyone from his father's side of the family anymore. Not his grandparents, not his uncles or aunts, not even his cousins. Total silence. Kevin says when 21's brother Terrell died, there was one glimmer of hope. 21 had actually texted Terrell on his birthday and for the first time got a reply. But it was too late. Terrell was already gone before they could rebuild that brotherly bond. That reality crushed Kevin all over again. He says what happened goes way beyond a normal custody issue. This was about erasing an entire side of a child's identity. He calls it a complete rewrite of family history, claiming that over the years, his son was slowly disconnected, not just from him, but from his roots, his culture, and the people who loved him before the fame. And according to Kevin, that same rewritten story became part of 21's success. He believes that parts of his son's public image, the came from nothing, no father around narrative, were built on distortions about their relationship. To Kevin, it's not just about music anymore, it's about truth and the price of staying silent while the world buys into a version of you that isn't real. Kevin reveals something shocking. He says he could have exposed 21 as an undocumented immigrant years ago, back when his son's fame was first taking off. He had the information, the documents, everything, but he chose not to do it because at the end of the day, he didn't want to destroy his son's career before it even started. That's huge. A father holding back something that powerful just to protect the child who publicly denied him. He says despite all the pain, he's genuinely proud of what 21 has accomplished. He's happy his grandchildren will be financially secure and live comfortably because of their father's success.
Listen, there's only one thing I need to say, and I've said it to you on the phone. Shea, I love you, and I want the best for you. That's all I need to say. I want the best for you, and I love you. I'll never stop loving you. I'll never stop loving you from the time it was 7:36 on October the 22nd. That's exactly the day with time he was born. I've never stopped loving that boy. I love that boy with all my heart. What are you talking about?
But that pride comes with heartbreak, because the same platform that made 21 a star has also been used, in Kevin's eyes, to twist their story and paint him as a villain. The deepest cut came after tragedy struck. When Kevin was still grieving the death of his other son, Terrell, instead of peace, he heard new music from 21 that he says continued to take shots at him. One lyric in particular hit like a punch to the chest. 21 rapped, "My mama broke, my daddy broke my mama heart when she carried me." Kevin says that line was too much. He turned off the music and hasn't listened to his son's song since. To him, that wasn't art. It was reopening a wound that should have been left alone nearly 3 decades ago. He couldn't believe his son was telling the world about relationship issues from 28 years in the past, stuff that had nothing to do with who they are today. Kevin says he felt like his personal life had become content for the internet, and that's a pain no parent should have to feel. Then he hits on something painfully ironic. The very success that 21 built on being a self-made, fatherless man now keeps him from doing what real fathers do every day. Kevin points out that 21 can't even take his own kids to the park, the shop, or anywhere public without security or risk, all because of the dangerous image he's built around himself. Kevin asked the question straight. How can you take your kids to the park or the local shop when you've spent years telling the world you're a gangster? It's a haunting reflection. The same story that made him rich is now the one that traps him from living a normal life. Kevin says that these days, 21 can't go anywhere without security. Every step he takes, someone's guarding him. He points out the sad truth. That's the price of the image he's built. The gangster persona might sell records, but it's also built a cage around him. He can't move freely, can't relax in public, can't even enjoy simple moments without watching his back. Kevin makes it clear that money can't fix everything. Not even close. Yeah, 21's got the fancy cars, the million-dollar homes, and 5-star meals. But that wealth came with loss. Kevin lists the names one by one. Larry, Johnny, Terrell, and more. Each one gone too soon. He says he wishes his son didn't have to walk through so much pain to reach success, that he didn't have to lose so many real ones along the way. If he could, Kevin says he'd trade all that fame just to bring those people back for his son, just so he could have a little peace again. But what hits the hardest is Kevin's final message. It's not about money, fame, or reputation. It's about communication. He says relationships don't fall apart overnight. They break when people stop talking. He believes that if you can't even pick up the phone and have a real conversation, then being in the same room won't change a thing. Kevin's been trying to keep that communication alive for over 20 years, calling, messaging, reaching out. But as he says, it takes 2 people to keep a bond strong. And that's the painful truth he's left with. One man trying to hold on while the other drifts farther away. So there it is, Kevin Emmons' side of the story, a version of events that completely flips what the world thought it knew about 21 Savage's past. According to Kevin, he was a present father, there through the first 7 years of 21's life, constantly trying to stay in touch from across the ocean, paying for phones, travel, and court costs, doing whatever he could to stay connected. Yet after all that, he says his son erased him from the narrative, replacing truth with stories that made him look like a ghost. It's a story of fame, family, and the cost of silence. And Kevin says he's finally speaking up, not out of hate, but because after decades of lies, someone's got to tell the truth. So now the real question is, who do you believe? Is Kevin just a father trying to rewrite history after his son made it big? Or is this truly a man who's been silenced, cut off, and painted as the villain in his own family story? Kevin's version is packed with emotion, detail, and receipts, enough to make anyone wonder if there's way more going on here than 21 has ever admitted. What's clear is that this isn't just a celebrity drama. It's a story about family, distance, and decades of miscommunication. Somewhere between fame, pride, and pain, the bond between father and son completely shattered. Kevin says all he really wants is something simple. Not money, not clout, not headlines, just for his son to pick up the phone and talk to him again. He wants a relationship with his child and his grandkids before it's too late. And that's what makes this story hit hard. Because at the end of all the drama, it's not about fame or fortune. It's about love and forgiveness. A father who still holds hope that one phone call could change everything. But now it's your turn to weigh in. What do you think? Is Kevin finally telling the truth, or is there still more we haven't heard yet? Drop your thoughts down below in the comments. We want to know what side you're on. And if this story gave you a whole new perspective on 21 Savage's family history, go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Because this saga is far from over, and we've got more wild hip-hop deep dives coming your way. Stay tuned, stay locked in, and remember, there's always two sides to every story.